Okay, so 6.4 is on factoring again. I know. Felt like we left it behind, but no, we didn't. Now we're doing factoring with just more difficult ones. And by more difficult, I mean higher powers. Yeah.
Does it make a difference that you wrote minus or
Yep.
plus?
Yep. So I did put them up on the boards so that they're there when we're doing problems. So if you guys have them in your notes and it's on a different page of your notes, I at least wanted to write them on the front board. So this is going to be called the sum and difference of cubes. We're going to mainly focus on this today. I do have more in the notes to do. You'll see when we get there. Today's portion is to show you how to do tomorrow's portion. Tomorrow's portion of 6.4 is the actual questions I wanted you to know how to do. But I believe this is mainly on the test. So on the test, there's like 4 or 5 questions on factoring, and I'll guess like 3 or 4 of them are going to be on sum and difference of cubes. One of them is on tomorrow's portion. So this is supposed to be guiding you and leading you to how to do tomorrow's, but this is kind of the main focus and like more important in terms of future classes, I guess. So it's called sum and difference of cubes. And I don't know if you guys remember difference of squares. When we had like x squared minus 16 could be factored into x plus 4, x minus 4. That was called as difference of squares. And when they were squared, we could only do the one that had subtraction. When they're cubed, you can do addition or subtraction. And so this is 2 different formulas written up here. And I don't know if you noticed it as you were writing this down. So I've got plus and minus here, plus and minus here. This one is backwards and it says minus plus. This was on purpose. So as you're writing it in your notes, make sure this one matches up. It will be, oh, you know what? I suppose for the recording, I better actually like point that out. The way that we're going to use it is you kind of either pick a top path or bottom path. So if your problem has a plus sign to start with, then that means you're going to be able to factor it into a plus b, a squared minus ab plus b squared. So if you're using the top symbols, you just stay on the top symbols. If you're using the bottom, you use the bottom. That's why they're both written there, rather than me writing out 2 separate formulas. Or would it be easier for you to see 2 separate formulas? I see you guys are way into this already. It's a great start. It's Monday. You're not supposed to be tired. I go over this every Monday. Monday's the day you guys get rest. You're ready to go. Okay, so we'll start as basic as we can. We're going to try to factor x cubed minus 8. Wait, I totally forgot. Who is not? 1? Wow. 1. We got Alex. Alex, do you want to roll? After all that. Is it just because you didn't want to walk all the way up here? 5. Nico. I did not catch that. Excellent. Here you go. What are you drinking? Is that a weird Red Bull? What flavor is that? Okay, ready? Great. So what I was hoping you could help me with is we're trying to match up x cubed minus 8 with this formula up here. So let's start with the signs. So this one is a minus.
So you would take the bottom.
Correct. Correct. So the formula I'm going to use is a cubed minus b cubed equals a minus b times a squared plus ab plus b squared. Okay, good. Good start. Do you want to keep going? Do you want somebody else to go?
Someone else.
That's kind of what I thought. Yep. Okay. 10. Emma. So, now that we've kind of decided which one of the two formulas to use, we need to figure out what A and B are. Now, this one actually is kind of weird because it's like too obvious that sometimes it's hard to identify. So, X is the same thing as A. What's cubed to get 8? 2. Perfect. Just so you guys know, you're basically only going to have like 1, 2, 3, maybe 4, maybe 5. It's pretty much going to be the first 5 numbers because they get way too big after that. So you're going to see a lot of the same numbers and get used to them. Okay, the only reason I did this is because I wanted to identify what A was and what B was. So if you want me to write it down, we're going to treat X as A and then 2 as B. Because we're trying to match it up to this blue one up on top. Because I've got something cubed minus something cubed, I can factor it as a difference of cubes. That's what this formula on the top represents. And then once I figure out what my A and what my B are, then I'm going to be able to write the answer immediately as A minus B, A squared, so X squared, plus A times B, so 2 times X, plus 2 squared, which I wouldn't write 2 squared, I would just write 4. But then this is factored. A majority of the work for this section is going to be just figuring out what you put in place of A and what you put in place of B. And for some of you, I'm sure this seems really easy, and for some of you, this is extremely complicated. That's just kind of how this goes.
Is that your answer?
That would be my answer. I'm done.
Oh, yeah.
That's factored. I wrote it as 2 things being multiplied. Now I should erase 2 squared. That's kind of something I would do in my head and write it as 4. Yeah.
Are we gonna get that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead, Emma.
So you know how you highlighted, like, so for A plus minus B,
Mm-hmm.
you highlighted the minus symbol, so why is it X plus 2?
Say it again.
Oh my God, sorry, I wrote plus, I should.
Oh, you wrote the first one as a plus.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. That's where I was confused. Well, that would explain it. Okay. Okay, so Estella, you were asking if we're given the formula for the test, right? Yeah, okay. I just wanted to clarify.
So we're not gonna be doing anything with like A cubed and a B cubed?
That's what you'll be given as the problem to start with, and then you'll be asked to factor it. And this isn't something that you're not going to be learning a method like we learned how to FOIL factor, or there is no methods for these. These difference of cubes or sum of cubes, the only way to factor them is to match them up with this formula that's already known. So all of the work is just going to be figure out what you put in place of A, what you put in place of B. And obviously they can get harder. The only things that can get harder is identifying A and B, like what's cubed. That's really the only thing that will get harder. Do you want me to go on to the next one? Okay. So I just went slightly harder. But again, the numbers you're going to be given are all going to be the same ones repeated all over the time. 2 cubed is 8, 3 cubed is 27, 4 cubed is 64, 5 cubed is 125. I don't think you're going to anything other than those. So that's one good thing about this. Nico, who do we have?
36.
That's actually Maddie, since I forgot to number your square. Anything you want to, I can guide you to help you start. Otherwise, what would we look at first?
Can I get a pi over b?
Okay, we can do that.
Would a be x?
Yes.
And then would b be the a?
Say it again.
Would b be the a?
That's where we're going to figure out B from. What we want to do is we want to figure out what cubed is going to be 8y cubed. Zena. Oh, yeah. I thought you were asking a question. I don't know if you heard her or not.
Would
Okay.
wait, what? She already said-
Yeah, she said the answer. That's right. That's okay. It is 2y. So you kind of look at the numbers and letters separately. So you have 8, well, 2 cubed is 8. And then you have y cubed, and y cubed is y cubed. So you're going to kind of write them separately. I'm going to put 2y in place of b. Okay, very good though. I mean, this kind of starts off tougher. Okay, Nico. 17. 17 is Sydney. So Maddie, I thought Maddie was going to start with the signs, but she went right to A and B, which is fine. Those are the only two things we have to identify. Is we have to identify which one of the two formulas to use. Which one would we use? Okay, how come?
Because it's a plus.
Perfect. Because we have a plus sign here, we're going to use the top symbols. I thought you were going to start with that one because that was the easier of the two things. You went right to the difficult part. Okay, those are the only two things we really have to do. From here, we just fill out this blue formula. Now, does anybody want me to go over where 2y came from, though? Because that's, yes? This is always going to be the hardest part for everybody to catch on to. Our goal is to figure out what cubed, so we know what b is. You look at the numbers and letters separate. So 2 cubed is 8, so I would put a 2 in here. And then the letters usually are kind of obvious just because y cubed is y cubed. The only time this is going to be different is if this is a different power, like 6 or something like that. But I kind of cut those out of the homework, so I don't think they should be there. And they're not on the test either, so. Okay. The a that we figured out is x. We decided to use the plus. The b is 2y. The a was x again, minus. Now I'm going to take x times 2y, and you can kind of write it however you want. I really don't care. I know the way you'll see in a textbook, like the answer key would be 2xy, because they usually write the number first and then alphabetical order. But it won't matter to me if you guys write x 2y or 2yx or something. Like they're still correct. And then plus this last one is where some of you, oh, my B got erased. So this is where some of you might make a mistake. We need to do 2y times 2y.
Sorry to interrupt, but where do I find this? Where do I log into eHealth? It's not on Schoology.
No. So when you go to log into Schoology, you're on that class link page.
ClassLink page, okay,
You know, you click on the icon for Schoology,
yes.
there'll be an icon there that says e-hall pass.
I have a shortcut for Schoology, so I don't go to that. How do you get to the?
Doesn't it
ClassLink?
make you log into ClassLink?
Yeah, but I already logged in today.
You have to go to classlink.com.
You have to go to class like the page,
What do you get? I gotta go to ClassLink homepage.
like where it gives you.
Where do I find that though?
I bet if you go to the Sowashco page,
Yeah, it's on there.
under the staff one, I bet you the ClassLink's there.
Alright.
I guess I've never gone straight to it.
Sorry to interrupt then. I'll try again.
Hey, they're worried about bathroom passes too. It's okay. This is what we're needing to do, is we need to square 2y. That means 2y times 2y, so it's 4y squared. That's where I think some people might get stuck or confused. So 2y times 2y is 4y squared. Some of you can probably do it in your head, others of you will need to write it down. Just do whatever works for you. But then this would be done. There's not going to be much work in this section. I don't know, how are we feeling about this one? I know you guys aren't always great about asking questions. I do my best to try to ask or say what I think you would want. Ask away if you're getting stuck. Let me try to put one up for you guys to try on your own. Why don't you see if you can try that one on your own? I'll go see if Sarge found it. I feel like he's gonna need help. What website? Oh, staff had a different.
It's not relevant.
Page that they go to.
Would the 27 things be A or B? But what if it they tripped in?
There you go.
Oh, that's a, yeah. Okay. Oh my god. What is 27? Like, what would cubed be to get 27? What number cubed equals 27? No, that doesn't work. How do you even do that? Okay. Let's try
3 is 9.
times 2 times 3. 27. 3.
No, it's not.
3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. That's how it works. Yes.
No.
Keep up.
No, what's
27. 3 times 3 times 3 is 27.
Really? Wait. Wow. Okay, so 3. No.
Bro, I'm
Y.
really
No, it's
genius.
3y in pencil and 3.
Good job.
Okay. And then it would be
Because 3 times. Should we abandon us?
minus.
No, it's I don't have any sticker. Is. And then
2
minus.
cubed.
And then 8.
2. If we have to do it cubed. 2 cubed equals 8.
Am I trying to master it to like
The equation.
So A is 3y. Yeah. And B is yes.
That's true.
How are we doing? We're stuck? Uh-oh. We can finish, okay.
Okay.
Have faith. Yep.
Oh, that's 4. 4
times three.
Where are you?
Would be the A.
Yep. 3y would be A, 2 would be B.
Oh, so it'd be 6.
Yeah.
Would it just be 2 or would it be 2?
B is just 2.
Wow, I'm a genius.
So you see how in the original formula in blue,
Yeah.
the original formula is
Got it.
A being cubed and B being cubed. So 8 is the same thing as 2 being cubed. So 2 is the second thing.
Minus 6, right?
So like when you look at the formula that we write the answers for, we want B, not B cubed.
Oh,
Because I was looking at like our first example of it, it was just 2. It wasn't 2 cubes.
Oh, really? Got it. So A is 3y.
Minus 2.
Oh,
Wait, do you mean writing in the parentheses right there?
no.
Okay, I forgot to write the cubed on the first one. Okay. So this would be 9y squared.
Oh. Oh, wait, why? Why would you get the 9?
Ah,
Oh,
okay.
3 squared.
Yes. So this
Did
is
you still put the square?
3y
Yeah.
squared.
Still put the square if you already squared it. I don't know.
So 3y times 3y is 9y squared. That's usually the part that's easy to overlook when you're doing the problems on your own.
Oh dear. Shoot.
Can we get all this?
Please.
Yes and no. We have to do a refresher of factor by grouping because that's what we need for tomorrow. But the factor by grouping isn't in your homework. Your homework is just going to be these.
Alright, yeah.
Okay. So this isn't going to be part of your homework tonight, but it's what you need for tomorrow. We did this last chapter. It's called factor by grouping. And it only happens when there's 4 things. When you have 4 terms, there's kind of just one method to try that you know for now. And that's where you kind of split it in half imaginary like. Yeah. Yes. I'm going to leave the sum and difference of cubes formula for the test. That's a difficult one to memorize unless you use it a lot. So the factor by grouping is where you kind of separate first half and second half and then factor each one individually. So this first half, they both have x squared in common. So I would factor out x squared. And as a reminder, factoring out means you're technically dividing it. So that would leave me with a single x and a 3. And then on the second half, I look to see what they have in common, which 4 goes into both. But since the first one is negative, if you guys remember that we're going to factor out a negative with it. So I'm going to divide by -4 on both of them. So I'd get a positive x and a positive 3. I'm assuming this kind of sort of is familiar since we did it. It was about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. And then I have it in halves right now. Each half has the same parentheses. So that's called a common factor. So we would put it in the front. And if you divide by what they have in common, you're left with x squared minus 4. This is kind of more of a refresher because you're going to need it for tomorrow. The x squared in the front? Okay. I didn't want to throw a million things at you tomorrow. That's why I kind of thought it would be nice to refresh you on this today.
Is that it
It technically isn't, but it is for right now. That's why tomorrow's is a little bit different. I just wanted to remind you guys on how you factor by grouping, by splitting it in half. This will not be in the homework tonight. This is kind of just helping you out for tomorrow so that tomorrow's isn't super difficult. You know what? I don't think I have. There it is. So your homework isn't even that much. I'd be shocked if you weren't done within 15 minutes. And that's because tomorrow's is bigger. Just kind of throwing that out there.
Tomorrow's homework is bigger?
Definitely.
Page what?
What's the page?
Oh.
Page 10, 12.
You know, it's a lot of pages. Just go to different page numbers. Let's try that again. Now these are all sum and difference of cubes, and I'll be glad to help you guys out. My guess is it won't take too long once you get the habit down of figuring out A and B pretty quickly, it goes fast.